What's up, guys? Back with Fresh Daily Meggs, and I recently talked about my trip to the draft, what I saw, what I did. Now, I'm going to give y'all what you want. I'm going to talk about some sports here. All this is up for debate. All this is just kind of my intrusive thoughts. Take it with a grain of salt, please. Or attack me. I mean, I'm fine with either. But this we're going to call Midgin Sports Takes because everyone says mid to all my sports takes. But let me tell you something. I was on Twitter, and I went down a rabbit hole of Skip Bayless's Twitter. And some of his tweets kind of are like mine, where it's just pure excitement. But also, he tweeted one day ago. I went down a rabbit hole, but I'm just gonna read some of the more recent ones. All in caps, mind you. Jason Tatum finally playing like a clutch star. Finally? What? And then like all his comments are like, "Where have you been, Chief? Been a beast for quite a while. Now you have like what? Like everyone, don't talk about Tatum. Let's talk about Al Horford. Do you feel better now that you tweeted this? Like they just go. I went down a rabbit hole, and if there's one person I think I'm a little bit like, it's this man right here. I just kept going through his tweets. Whether his takes are good or not, he tweets a little bit like me, and NBA Twitter is ruthless. Let me tell you. Ruthless. I have gotten involved in NBA Twitter maybe like a few times, and the personalities on there are so aggressive, and I know that's like what the sports world is like, I guess, but sports Twitter just kind of feels like Stephen A. Smith yelling in your ear if you say something that the world doesn't agree with. If you don't tweet something utterly general that everyone can agree with. But even Skip tried just tweeting a general thing, being like, well, he worded it wrong. He said Jason Tatum was finally playing like a clutch player, but I just think he missed a few chapters because Jason Tatum's been like up here for the past like 3 years. Like, dude is insane. I'm a huge Giannis fan. Not only am I a Giannis fan, I'm a fan of Giannis's family because his lady, Mariah, the beautiful Queen Mariah, is such an utter queen. I saw her at All-Star Weekend, and she was being escorted with security like through the arena, and she was holding her child, and she stopped with a child on her arm to give me a hug. So if there's anyone I love more than Giannis, it is Mariah. But it's even funnier because the first time I met her, like, I just feel like I clicked with her right away. And she even brought me some of her stuff from her merchandise line, which is really cool. So 10 out of 10 Giannis, 13 out of 10 Mariah. Harden, rare blast from the distant past. This man, I'm telling you, this man is literally me, because that is something that I would say now. I used to be a Harden stan. I used to be a huge Harden stan when he was on the Rockets. And when Harden was on the Rockets, he was dropping 40, 50, I think even a 60-point game at one point. What happens? Like, I think the NBA players in this world, I think they get so burnt out lately. And even with like Ben Simmons, I was talking to my friend about this, like Ben Simmons, like not playing in game 4 with the Brooklyn Nets, burnt out. I mean, the dude put Philly on his shoulders, traded, was expected to be this huge star in Brooklyn, didn't even play. Imagine how all those fans like mess with your brain and what you see on Twitter and everyone's just intake, and no one really understands that you're kind of like more than an athlete. You're like a human too. Like, I just can't imagine having to deal with that. But does anyone remember Rajon Rondo? I grew up watching him too. I remember everyone in my elementary school had Rajon Rondo like shirt, like a Celtic shirt. Everyone loved him where I was from. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really watch the NBA when I was like, what was it? It was like 2009. I didn't even know about the NBA at that point. But, I mean, I don't know if he was loved or not. But, like, that, Al Horford very much, like, when I think of Al Horford, I think of Rajon Rondo. That just randomly came to my mind. Anyways, moving on. Like I said, talking about athletes and how, you know, they kind of get treated like fans go crazy at games. I remember sitting, like, near courtside at a Celtics game, and everyone's heckling Kyrie. And whatever, I get it. I don't care if you're a Celtics fan or not. I don't care who you're a fan of, who you don't like. He didn't do anything personal to you. And people will shout the most obscene things at these people just to kind of get them to look, because they want that attention. And I once saw Kyrie heckle him back, and he was like, oh yeah, you sitting in those seats, huh? You feel real tough? And if I was Kyrie, I would have said the same thing, because imagine paying all that money to sit that up close, and like an NBA player that, if to be honest, asked to shake your hand, you'd probably melt, and you just want to heckle him just for a response. Stay classy, Boston, because that's something that that's very much a Boston person thing to do. But something that happened recently with heckling is Chris Paul. Like, everyone saw this on Twitter. Kid, I don't know exactly what happened, so I'm not gonna say exactly. I'm gonna say like allegedly. This kid was trying to either talk to his family, bother his family, hug his family unwantedly, touch the family, maybe just getting way too in their bubble, which, like, if you know that's Chris Paul's family, maybe don't do that. And just second of all, would you do that to anybody? No, like, that's a human. You don't just, like, go touching random humans. It's like, think of people as like a piece of art. Like, you don't really need to touch it. You can just admire. So if you're sitting around the Paul family, just like admire. I saw the video. The kid got kicked out. That is just something. This stuff happens a little too often, first of all, that fans don't behave. And all that we see is usually like a reminder on like the big screen is to like, oh, fans that are unruly will be kicked out. Blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, you can't come back. I guarantee that fan could buy another ticket to a game, just like under maybe a different name, and get right back into the arena. But NBA players get fined so much for such smaller things and things that kind of just come with the nature of being in the game, maybe just having a little more like spunk during a certain game. I don't know, a little more attitude than others. But fans really don't get any punishment. What is up with that? I never understood that. And like I said, I guarantee that kid could just buy another ticket one day in a few months and hit up a game again. And they say that they're like banned, but are they though? I don't know. Anyways, don't touch people that you don't know, and don't try to hug people you don't know. I don't know if that's what happened, but you shouldn't do that in general. Do you just go up and hug strangers on the street? No, it's so weird. It's embarrassing, especially if that is the wrong kid for that kid. Like, if the video that I've seen, if that's the wrong child, then that is so embarrassing. Then there's like a younger boy behind him that like everyone forgot about, and he like trailed behind like the one actually getting removed. I don't know, but it's kind of like when the woman glued her hand to like the court. No one has a sense of common sense nowadays, to the point where people are gluing themselves to NBA arenas. Like, I love the Knicks, but I'm not going to just go gluing myself and then touching my favorite player's family. That's a little bit too far. They're people too. People forget. Ridiculous. Anyways, keep going. What was I talking about? Oh, and then everyone on Twitter. So now moving on from that. That's crazy. Don't touch people. Moving on from that, everyone on Twitter is hating on LeBron. I see nicknames. I'm seeing LeBron slander. So I wanted to kind of figure out like why. And allegedly people are hating on LeBron for, I guess, like being on vacation, having a drink or two, eating. I've seen it all. Basically, LeBron's living a nice little life wherever he is, and people are like, why aren't you in the gym? Where are you? Oh my gosh, you should be. This is your off season, like, while everyone's working and you're just on Twitter. First of all, that man has put so many seasons into the NBA. I'm sure a little vacation after the season's over is like much needed. He's been doing this for so long. I'm sure he doesn't even remember what it's like to not be in the NBA. And for his age and where he's at, like, he's not one of these young players that in the off season, these young players should be grinding. Like, if you're 24 and it's your third year in, like, when the season ends, if you don't make it, you're to work in a second. You got a trainer, you got a gym, you're going for a couple hours every day. Like, you are going off. I remember, like, I had a friend that used to be on, what was the team? anyways, I don't remember. It was on a Western Conference team. But I knew someone, and I remember asking, like, what their schedule was like. And they hadn't made playoffs. And he was like, oh, 6 a.m., I'm up. I eat a specific meal that, like, a chef makes for me. I go to practice. I do practice for about 5 hours. I take a 2-hour break in between. I eat. I go back for another 5 hours. I get home at 10 o'clock at night. And then I do it all again the next morning. That's the off season. So I get why people are hating on him, but at the same time, I mean, the names just aren't necessary. LeBum? Come on. It sounds kind of funny. But, like, people are just hating on the wrong things. They're hating on this man for going on Twitter and just tweeting. Like, this dude runs the NBA. Of course he's going to enjoy his life when the season's over. He has kids. He has a wife. He has so many other things to do after they don't make playoffs. And I'm sure he also is, like, kicking himself for not making playoffs. Like, I'm sure he's not happy. So does everyone expect him to post, like, an apology video with tears the second they didn't make playoffs? I don't know. Hot take. Why do people care what he's doing in the offseason? Young players, yes, should be grinding. LeBron, man that could, like, literally buy the league, I'm sure, if he wanted to. I really don't think he needs to be doing the 10-hour training days. And plus, he still is in pretty great shape for where he's at in his career. I actually, speaking of LeBron tweets, everyone's just mad that he's even talking. I don't know why everyone is so anti-LeBron lately, but he tweeted, "Ja is so tough. There's no way Ja should even be in the MIP talks. This guy is a flat-out star and always has been. Real basketball brains know. Not the majority of dweebs who don't even watch basketball are on these voting ballots." Dweebs. Like, LeBron, and like, I literally quoted it, and I was like, dweeb is so funny. I'm so sorry. So I get why people... Oh, someone said I don't know ball. That's funny. But people are just hating on this man. I thought it was funny he said dweebs, but he's chronically on Twitter lately because he's bored. He's sipping on a margarita. Let the man live. Taco Tuesdays must live on, season or not season, all right? I don't know why people care so much about what he's doing in the offseason, but, you know, like I said, I gave my opinion. He's not a young player. He's not going to do what the other players are doing. And if it's on your own fault if, like, your game shows for it. So I'm sure he knows. Like, if he drops 2 points next season in the first game, he'll know, okay, maybe don't go to Turks and Caicos for, like, 3 months on end. I don't know. If I could do that, I totally would. I wouldn't even care. Moving on. Dallas is getting a second football team, apparently. The mayor wants an expansion team. That's crazy. The mayor wants a new team, a second team. And I started thinking on this. I'm like, that's cool. Have to think of a name. Do you. It's fun. You need a whole stadium unless you're going to share with the Cowboys. But it's so weird to me that a franchise as big as them would rather a second team in the possibility of winning rather than building up what they already have. They have such a huge franchise. They have such a loyal fan base. Why would you not just kind of work on, like, what's already there? Plus, with such a loyal fan base to the Cowboys, it's going to be really hard in this day and age to grow a loyal audience and to get any type of fans to go. But, I mean, it's not impossible. I'm sure it's all, the tactic is on who they bring onto that team. So if they're bringing on a team of a bunch of superstars and literally make a focused team for winning, which is everyone's goal, but if they actually nitpick every single perfect person for this team that wants to do it, that wants to be on a new team, that wants to represent Dallas, that wants to try something, like, usually doing, like, a new venture like this is scary because it's so different. Plus, like, you don't know what people are going to say about it. You don't know if people are going to laugh at you. But I mean, if there's anything I know from working at Overtime, it's definitely that we just do things that nobody's done before. We started our entire league ourselves, and it is going great. So maybe this will go great. I don't know, but it's hard to grow a fan base. It's hard to grow people to want to watch that. You definitely need to rely on the player dynamic, and I don't know who they'd even bring on this team. Would they take people from existing teams? Would they hold a personal, like, signing day for the whole roster of this new team? Yeah. If they do this, if they go through with this, if they sign the papers, they need to hold a contest for naming the team. That would be awesome. And then whoever actually gets the name picked gets, like, I don't know, $100,000. Because I know you have it, Dallas. There's a reason why you're expanding this. You got the coin. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. Moving on. What did I miss? Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler finds the next great NBA star in the Netflix Hustle trailer. I actually didn't hear about this. And then I Googled it. That's what I'm best at. Bobby. He literally is going to be in a movie. I cannot wait to see this. And if you know anything about Bobby, and if you watch enough TV of any sort, Bobby is in like every commercial. I just feel like I see this man everywhere. He's got great acting skills. He just kind of plays himself. Like he's his own entity. And I hope he plays himself. That'd be funny if they just had him as literal Boban in the movie. I don't know what he's going to do. Good for Bobby. I can't wait to see him on the red carpet. I hope I can go to that because, like, that would be pretty fun. I should text. I'm going to text Bobby. Slight flex. Probably wouldn't get a response. But I'm just excited for him because he was in the, oh my God, what commercial was it? He was in the Goldfish commercial. And he, like, was trying to fit, like, a lot of goldfish in his hand, I think. And then I think he was in a State Farm commercial. I don't know. Bobby's everywhere. Just turn on the TV, and every company's hiring Bobby as, like, the face of their brand right now. He is just a great person. Also, check out his TikTok. He has, like, really just, like, Bobby TikToks. I don't know. I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see Bobby in movies. Bobby in theaters, the film. The last thing I want to talk about is the name, image, and likeness stuff that's going on. It's, like, an ongoing thing with the NCAA, athletes, their money, how much they can make, their salary cap, all that. And that is so crazy because, first of all, we all hear, like, the stories from, like, back before they could do this. Like, a lot of college athletes really got it out the mud and had to, like, really strive for all this to, like, make it to the league and just get that big check. But usually when you sign with the team, you get, like, a signing bonus. You get like a, and this kind of eliminates the need for that, like that first check, because these kids are all making money beforehand. But then again, it goes back to the idea that, like, all these athletes are, like, social media stars at this point. Like, they all have these huge platforms and all these followers, and the bigger the followers, the bigger the paycheck. So obviously, like, the more platform you have, the more brands are gonna, like, dish out the zeros. And it's so crazy because before this, like, literal, they were like some of these athletes were struggling. It is so nuts to me that now, I think the reason why they did this is, like, with the new modern, like, social media and how these guys get, what's the word? Brought so many brand deals. Like, they get approached by brands. All these brands are approaching them. All these entities are approaching them, and they had to turn them down because their name, image, and likeness was tied to the school in the NCAA. Good for them. I love that. NCAA is modernizing itself, and they are moving forward. I hope that just continues to happen because these players really do deserve it. If they're building their own audience, that audience is going to translate to a pro team when they go to that pro team, obviously. So they're bringing fans there. They're going to bring support there. That's awesome. They're going to be hyped up. Hopefully they show out for all the hype, and they're making a bag doing it. I wish I could do that. Are you kidding me? I think that should have always been a thing. But obviously, name, image, and likeness back then would have been like doing a Wheaties commercial. I never had Wheaties. I just know a lot of athletes go on the Wheaties box. But I don't know. A lot of sports stuff going on lately. Did I talk about John Poole? I skipped John Poole. One last thing I have to add in. One last thing. John Morant and Jordan Poole apparently, like, got into it at a game because Jordan, like, touched Ja's knee. I have a tweet on it. Someone posted the video because I didn't see the video in real time. Oh, come on, Megan. Where is it? Where'd you put it? Valen. Right here. Poole pushed Ja with his left hand and pulled back his knee the other way with his right, which causes Ja to be injured. And for some reason, people are saying Ja got people are saying Ja got injured actually in a different play. I don't know what's going on with that, but then the next game, they shook hands. Ja apparently tweeted, broke the code, then soon deleted it. Twitter fingers, we all do it sometimes when we're mad. I think it was in reference maybe to the game and what happened there with the injury and the grabbing, but just one thing you should learn, just like LeBron, get off Twitter. Because you know what? The second you tweet something, it's out there, And especially a player like Ja with that big platform, like people are gonna expect a lot from you as a person to be respectful, highly of yourself, all that. So the second you tweet anything about your opponents, like everyone's gonna attack. So of course people were attacking Ja, being like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe he said that. Like that really lowered my expectations of him. Come on. Once again, they're people too. Of course they're gonna get Twitter fingers. Should you have Twitter fingers? No, get off Twitter. Stop tweeting about everything. Don't be like LeBron. But you're in the playoffs. Obviously, you're going to have a lot more grit to yourself. So, Ja's got the grit right now. Good for him. Big Ja Morant stan. All right, that's all the sports I can talk about today. I've exerted all my knowledge that I know. Bye!